What's up, everybody? It's the Grand Line Gazette where we talk about One Piece damn near every damn day. We talk about One Piece a lot. Obviously, you made it
We
here.
do.
We're talking about Loki today. We're talking about Hajrudin. We're talking about the end of chapter 1143. Before that, little housekeeping. New channel. We're about to hit our 1 year. We're about to start ramping it up. We need more likes. We need more comments. We need more subscribes just so that YouTube can do the YouTube thing. You gotta ask. I guess when you don't ask, you don't get. So I'm asking. Let us know how you guys feel about Loki and I almost said Thor and Hajrudin, their dynamic, their relationship, the flashback. If you guys write a comment, you like the comment, put it on the screen. We'll read it. We'll tell you how we feel about it. So interact with it. If you guys don't know who we are, that's Kev. I'm Corey. Like I said, we talk about One Piece a lot. Kev, can you help us get started with today's topic?
Yeah, so we're going to cover the last 3 to 4 pages of this newest chapter. So let's set the scene. We got Stanson, Hardin, Gerd, all sitting around Loki. They're treating to his wounds, having a conversation. You see Luffy just sitting on top of his horn. That's how big Loki is. Even sitting down, he's still. It's staggering to really see him up close.
The other giants look like humans compared to him almost from
Yeah.
the angle.
Yeah. And so like they're actually kind of worried. They're all talking like he shouldn't be recovering here, but we can't take him back to the village because him being free right now is treason for everyone here. Execution block for everyone, even Harden. It doesn't matter. But then we get a flashback and it kind of goes deeper into the Harden Loki relationship. And we see that like Loki was just a straight up asshole to this guy for like no reason. None of us, you know, are nice to our siblings per se. But, me and my brother are half siblings, and I never said your dad had dirty blood. And that's what Loki tells this like 17-year-old Haruden, which is, everyone knows that your mom has dirty blood, which is, one of those comments that kind of digs deep.
Yeah,
Um,
that's one of those things that's just like, yo, what the? It probably had nothing to do with that too. Like the conversation they were
yeah,
having with their dad probably had nothing to do with that because that's how kids are. They just say hurtful shit randomly. One
yeah.
sec.
He'll be like, "Hey, like let's treat our civilians and our citizens with kindness and fairness," and he's just like, "Yeah, Harden, with your dirty mother's blood." But then we go on to we skip the flashback and we're back in real time, back at Elbath, and Harden just goes hammer, like he just goes hard at Loki, where even his crew is having to hold back the axe from being dropped, and Loki doesn't even move an inch. Loki is at death's door. If you didn't treat him at all, he would just die naturally at this point.
Yeah,
But then Loki like has a couple snide comments for him, calling him the weeping warrior thing has gotten old. You're so drunk on all this personal drama. And then he has like the one that we are all waiting for is Loki to say something like, "You really think I did that to our dad in cold blood?" Which is him admitting a part of it. He did do it. And that's how I'm interpreting this. He did do it, but he had a good reason for it. And I think when all said and done, Harold would also agree with what Loki has done.
yeah, I
So
do also agree with that. I think whatever the reason is, and we are gonna eventually get a flashback sometimes in LBAP. Maybe it'll be sooner.
mhm.
Maybe it'll be later. But I fully believe that Loki had Harold's consent for whatever happened. You know what I mean? Like he's like, hey,
Yep.
yeah, you gotta do this. Or if he did not, that Loki actually no. I think Loki just fully had the consent of Harold. I think this was like a knowledge thing. I think it was like, hey, you got to do it so you can have the devil fruit. You know what to do. They're not gonna like you for it, but you
Yep.
just got to be the villain. And you talked about it a little bit before, like their dynamics. Um, the whole, or maybe that was in the pre-show, but you might mention it, the Loki Thor dynamic,
Hmm.
where Loki, he's a liar, much like Usopp
Yep.
in this story. And much like mythology, he's a liar. Um, but we are seeing a lot of analogies that show that Loki is actually Thor. He's actually both characters in one. He's got the
Right.
hammer. He's got the uh, needs to earn his respect back kind of thing. That's a constant Thor trope. Um, he has the lightning powers, a lot of powers and stuff like that.
Unliftable hammer.
Yeah, exactly. An unliftable hammer. Haruden, on the other hand, he has bracers on. And which god do we see with bracers a lot? Heracles. Hercules. He has bracers.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah. Hercules. I said the Greek one because I
Yeah.
am mentioning it because of God of War. When he fought Heracles, he had these giant braces on. But I think that is the dynamic. So I think we have to look at Loki as both Loki and Thor. We got to look at more of Haruden's decisions as a Hercules decision. A very angry, temperamental kind of person that's also trying to earn his way back. But he has to do 12 labors. So with these labors, I mean, he's got to do certain things. Like, we know Harden's done shit. Like, look, I've fought at Dressrosa. I used to be Buggy's delivery service. I'm the new giant warrior pirates. Like, we all took down my brother. So that's another reason why Loki's just mad right now. It's just like, bro, you captured me and stuck me down here for 6 years. But the last labor, well, I'm saying all this to say, would be capture the Cerberus. So,
Ooh.
I do think that this is going to be a much needed scene because we are doing the slow build to Harden not only forgiving his brother, but respecting his brother's decisions. And to do that, he's got to protect his brother from Shamrock.
I do like that a lot.
Or that's just his final fight of the arc.
And you did say something as far as like how the character, the inspiration for Loki and Hajrudin here, they both kind of share Thor. I would guess I would put some to Loki and some to Hajrudin. But then Loki has the namesake, and he has the childhood where he was called many names. Ever since he was born, he was the accursed prince, and they just found things along the way to kind of make him. So that's been a burden that he's like just taken on, and yeah, he's picked on his bigger brother, quote unquote. But maybe he's always looked at him as like a little brother that he kind of has. His stature alone would make me be more of a nurturing, protective brother, whether big or little. Um, but I do have a question that I kind of want to hear your thoughts on, as well as um, the community's thoughts. We have blood here being given. Do you think the Onis would have their own special blood, or are they like a universal recipient?
I think they're kind of like a. I don't think it works like that because it's like, remember, Luffy got a transfusion from a fish man, so you don't
Very
exactly
true.
have to be the same race
Very
down
true.
to
Very
a T.
true.
It's not like O negative specific. But that being said,
Hmm.
the blood on hand is definitely something very questionable, Gerd. Maybe you've been hanging out with Road a lot.
Bro, she popped out 6 bags. Like, what do you? I'm sorry. Where did you keep that shit? Gerd, this shit needs to be on ice.
Maybe it's
What are
Sanji's
you?
blood. Maybe he's getting nosebleeds again.
Sanja, whatever you need, Gerd. Does anybody have S blood? Yeah,
I got
whatever
it
you need,
all.
Gerd. And then he just gets hooked up to the nose because that's where it's all coming. Like I can see Oda writing that shit now. Um, I mean, we've been saying it here on this channel. Luffy has been saying how much of a good guy Loki is this entire arc. So we've known that it's going to be like
Luffy's
that.
not a bad judge of character.
No, best emotional judge in this whole entire thing. Like, but I do like Hajrudin trying to kill Loki here, defenseless little brother. That's a side of Hajrudin I wasn't expecting. That is interesting.
And for Luffy to just be like, "Don't do it," and he's like, "Fine, I ain't gonna do it," because he actually.
That is great because I totally that's the part that shocked me the most. Like he asked him, "Hey, I'm gonna like captain to my disciple. I'm gonna ask you a request. Don't hurt him." And then second Luffy's on his head and he's
opposed
just like
to
going with an axe on his
opposed to
throat.
his family ideals, constraints, opposed to his like team's constraints, opposed to his like captain's ideals. Like he's like, whatever, man. I ain't need all that. Like, bro, where's the honor? Hajrudin, where is the honor? So I think we're gonna find out that Hajrudin actually makes more least, uh, wow, more less honorable decisions than Loki. So that would be interesting. If
Yes.
Loki lies, but Hajrudin does things that are a little more unforgivable. He was part of the delivery service, so God knows what the hell that had to do.
I mean, and those were basically mercenaries. You're not really doing it for pride or protecting
Straight money.
your crew. It's money. Um, I that is kind of interesting. I do wonder what what the raising of the child like because here in the flashback you see him on the ground, Hardin on the ground, with Loki kind of being in the middle of applause. With this being the warrior race, possibly pirate battles. I mean, you're in the same age as Kaido when you're thinking about Loki, so you're possibly meeting each other on the open ocean. Maybe he's been the the champion of the winning side a few times. I mean, he's a straight up warrior, and you have to learn that eventually
Yeah,
from
that does look
first-hand
like
experience.
applause. It was probably like they probably just fight. You know what I mean? How you think of
Yeah, yeah.
like that like saying about
Luffy.
like Irish people in bars and shit like that on like Family Guy. Like they probably just like fighting. And you know what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, we got to think back. Luffy, Sabo, and Ace all fought 100 matches each day, 50 against each other, and they kept score. Like that's just what you do when you warrior race. I only have one last
Imagine
question
there was
that
like
I'd
no
like.
TV or no nothing, no internet,
You
no.
got nothing.
You got nothing
The
to
news
do.
coup.
Yeah.
The news coup. That was it. And that came 3 months ago.
They're like,
And
fuck it, I
like,
guess
so
we'll
what do we
fight.
do? I guess we'll fight. We do, and you'll have to remind me of the hammer name, but we do see in the flashback Loki
Ragnar.
carrying around. No, no, no. Sorry.
Kanabo.
The club Kanabo. You do see the Kanabo, which is a fairly unique ability in the One Piece verse, at least. Not in the real world, but we've only seen one character really whip that around, and he looks an awfully lot like Loki here. And I want to hear the community's thoughts. Do
Yeah.
we think cousins, half brother, like of Harold or something like that? Maybe I
Okay,
don't.
at a certain level, I mean, I get that they're not all related, but you guys all have not dragon blood, giant blood,
Mhm.
ancient giant blood. So it's like you guys, like we've seen a lot of people with horns, and a lot of people that we
Yes.
just were just like, whatever, man, we're not even gonna think about it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like to a certain level, like a lot of people are related on some level. So I just gotta I would like to see a flashback of like Elbaf like disrupting, because there had to be a certain point where um, everybody just started leaving, and then like started dispersing. Or maybe it's like not that everybody dispersed. It's maybe everybody came from other places, and that's where all the giants met up.
Yeah.
Not sure.
And I want to know if there's a difference between Oni, which is something Kaido specifically said that he was, and like the great continent pullers slash ancient giants. I want to know if all of those are one and the same. Is
Yeah,
there a little bit
the
of a
demon
difference?
giant or the ancient giant. It's like, bro, like oh and Oni, like ancient Oni giant. It's like, bro, okay,
Yeah.
so it's like, are these things a thing? It's like, Interesting. Very interesting. How do you guys feel about it? Let us know in the comments below. How do you feel about the dynamics? How do you feel about the theories we're talking about today? Who Loki represents, who Hajrudin represents, like the future in Elbaf. Do you guys think Hajrudin is going to forgive Loki by the end of this flashback? If we have a flashback next week, do you think Hajrudin is going to forgive Loki midway through Elbaf or at the end of Elbaf?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, that'd be nice if he forgave him like halfway through and it was like, fuck it, you got two giants on your side.
I mean, brothers back to back. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dude, we've seen it. You guys tell us down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys because Loki's been a treat. I've been really excited meeting Loki on Elbaf.
Yeah.
Hope he gives us more.
It's like Wano started with like a lot more like fights and stuff like that, and well, it was like a little slower pace, but we still had fights to start, even in like the introductions, like Zoro getting assassinated or executed. Egghead was very dynamic at first, like with the art, even with the animation in the show. Like Egghead was very dynamic. Like a little happened and then a lot happened. Like we are just straight up living in Elbaf. Like this brings me like Big Mom like territory vibes, where it's like we've been here a little bit. Like Luffy was fighting Cracker for a little bit. Like we've been dealing with this. I don't even know what to call this lead up, because the whole stuff with Road, like going all the way over here, like
that was 3 chapters. We were in that little castle for 3 chapters.
Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. But you know who does know? The community, because they're a lot smarter than we are. You guys tell us what's going to happen next week. Corey's predicting a flashback, maybe. I think we're actually going to leave here. I think we have Elbaf on a good end spot for right now. And now would be a good time to really dive into where the hell is Garp? Where's Kid? Where's Law? Like, we need these people back in our lives.
100%.
And I want to see them.
Where's Vivi? Like, what's going on with that?
Vivi exists, right. But we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.